Since the Brexit, I keep on hearing, well, time will tell, but I don't think it will. I think perspective will tell. Preach! Testify! I don't have a crystal ball, and I don't know what's going to happen. But let me remind you of some stuff that you already know. You can't trust the words out of these politicians' mouths.
You know all them motherfuckers is crooked as a barrel of snakes, don't you?
And hopefully you also know not to trust the corporate media, right? You know it's not impartial. If you don't know that, do yourself a favour. Type in Hillary media bias, grab yourself a biscuit, and take 5 minutes to look at the US primaries. Now it's far enough away from the UK to get that objectivity and see how the media completely corrupts and twists a campaign to influence the result. If you've been listening to politicians and media peddling fear, that's why you're worried. Look, if you want to be in a good mood, you watch a comedy. You don't watch a slasher movie. Politicians plus the mainstream media is the equivalent of watching that horror movie. And if you know that you can't trust the politicians and the media, then maybe you're worrying about who you can trust. Don't trust me. Don't trust me. Trust you. Trust what you know. I trust me. And this is what I know. So, do you know this too? What I know is that negative emotions are more commonplace in people than positive emotions. And that's why they use them in marketing. Think about it. The reason it's more powerful is because most people exercise their negative emotions more. So it kind of hypertrophies and gets stronger. Simple example. People go on holiday and so they leave the office on Friday evening, but they don't fly until Sunday morning, and they don't get to the hotel until Sunday evening. How many people think that their holiday starts when they're at the hotel? The packing, the traveller's checks, the airport parking, the checking in, the flight. This is all a chore that they get stressed about, but this is all the holiday. The whole thing is an adventure. Campaigns are based around fear and anger, not love, because people find it hard to tap into that vibe. The Remain camp was based around fear. Fear of the unknown and fear of economic Armageddon. The Leave camp based it on anger from immigration. But you know, right? Both of those are doomed. Let's just say the vote had been Remain. There'd be less fear and a greater amount of suppressed anger which would be leaking out. And as someone who's experienced my fair share of racism, believe me, it's a lot better when it's out in the open. It might make you uncomfortable, but at least it's visible and you can deal with it. I read this line. Not all of those who voted Leave were racist, but in doing so, they opened the door to far-right politicians. You know, that may be true in the very short term, but understand democracy, not in the long term. We'll all be able to vote again in another election, and then we can just close that door. In fact, that's why some people voted to leave, to keep that tension on the democratic line between them and the elected officials. The racial attacks now are the same racial attacks that would have happened with a Remain vote. They just use slightly different phrasing. Shouldn't you be on a plane back to Pakistan right now? Turns into, now I'm going to have to put up with all your family from Pakistan. This is what I know and learned growing up. Whatever the result, the racists can twist it into a comment. The hatred doesn't appear because of a vote. All that happens if the vote goes your way is that you individually are happy. That's it. Now that's important, but that is what it is. It's your happiness. Right now, if you're unhappy, accept that that is you, not the country. And if you've got to the place in your mind where, oh, we've made the wrong decision, then you've elevated your status and your importance to more than your fellow man. And given yourself the X-Man power of seeing the future, which Brussels probably would have wanted you to register. I don't know whether the effect of the vote will be good or bad, right or wrong, but I do know that if you're waiting for time to change your perspective, why wait? You can just take control and change your perspective right now. If we voted to Remain, I'd be happy. Awesome. I'd immerse myself in the positivity of that decision. So if you want to be happy in your life, you need to change the thing that you have control over, which is your perspective. Although you might feel like everything's just gone crazy and you've just lost control, if you want to be happy in your life, take control of the only thing that you have, which is your perspective. And to help you along with that in the start, you just need to immerse yourself in the positive perspective of others. Now, of course, a perspective can be positive for negative reasons, but steer clear of that. That's just a general life rule. You Wouldn't listen to Cersei Lannister. From her perspective, everything's hunky-dory and positive. Because she killed everybody, and that's negative. Listen to the reasoning of intelligent people who had no vested interest in lying, who wanted to leave. But don't count me as one of them. Brexit fine detail is way out of my area of expertise. If you don't have any of those friends in your circle, then just go onto YouTube and type in Brexit reason to leave, and then do the YouTube sift. You know, the 30-second test. In 30 seconds you can tell if it's a moron, a propaganda channel with an agenda, or an intelligent, independent person with a view. Listen to 10 or 15 of the smart videos and you're going to feel a lot better. Because God alone knows your government and your media isn't going to do that for you. If this has helped, hit the thumbs up. If you think you might like to hear a little bit more of this sprinkled into your life over the next couple of months, you know, like my vibe, please subscribe.